Journalists are increasingly being made scapegoats for fake news with potentially dangerous consequences for democracy. Laura Garcia from fact-checking organisation First Draft says politicians have weaponized the phrase to distract the public and undermine the institutions trying to hold them to account.
The vast majority of the information that we see that is problematic isn't actually from news sites. It's memes and screenshots and YouTube videos, podcasts, GIFs, little animations, Facebook posts. So by repeatedly using the term fake news, we keep reinforcing this almost like abstract concept that the problem is the news, the problem is the media, the problem are the journalists, and it makes us the scapegoat and the enemy, and therefore it's very easy to weaponize by politicians of all types and flavors.
The dangers of fake news were highlighted earlier this year when misinformation threatened to bring down one of the world's biggest democracies. Former US President Donald Trump was blamed for inciting a violent mob who forced their way into the Senate after he falsely claimed to have won the election. 5 people died in the resulting chaos, which provided a reminder of the deadly consequences of fake news and the role social media plays in spreading it.
How we relate to information, and that includes mis and disinformation, is one of the biggest challenges at having transparent working democracies in the next 20 years. I think the end of the last century gave us the technology to build all these incredible spaces in the digital sphere, but maybe we didn't think about them as much as we should have, of how it was going to change how we relate to each other.
Despite his impeachment, Twitter's decision to ban Trump has raised concerns about free speech in a democratic society.
In the end, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram are private companies, so they have the legal right to do whatever they want. One manipulated video is not the problem. The problem is the scale and the scope and the complexity of it all, and how it changes our relationship to the information that we share with each other.
Theodore Kalouris, a senior lecturer at Brighton University School of Media, says the UK's Brexit vote, the Cambridge Analytica scandal, and the storming of the US Capitol building show millions of people are susceptible to fake news. He believes school curriculum should change to reflect the threat posed by the spread of disinformation.
Young people ought to know about politics, political economy, and things like that. Whilst growing up, there should be actual lessons at school informing them of what, say, capitalism is, of what liberalism is, what happens in elections, how laws are made, and so on and so forth. All these things ought to be part and parcel of somebody's education. So I don't see an easy solution, but if I were, in any way involved in sort of legislation, I would push for all these things to be part of the curriculum.